everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is my take on the astrology for March 2025. Interesting month, right? So this is starting our eclipse season. So all of March has two eclipses, one in Virgo and one in Aries. But wait, there's more. We have both Mercury and Venus going retrograde. And we have the spring equinox. And finally, we have Neptune ingressing or going into Aries at the end of the month. So let's get into it. So we'll start off on the 2nd of March, where we will have Venus going retrograde, and it will go retrograde at 10 Aries, 50 minutes. And this is significant because we're talking about what? When we're talking about Venus, we're talking about women, anything pertaining to women, but we're also talking about money and values. So right when we kick off the beginning of March, these things are going to be coming up to be reviewed, right, during the retrograde. Both Mercury and Venus, kind of in tandem, are going retrograde at similar degrees. And likewise, they're going direct at similar degrees in Pisces in April. I'll cover that more in April, but just to give you a heads up on that. All right. So we have, for the USA anyway, the 9th of March, our clocks go forward as well, just to confuse us a little bit more, right? So the first eclipse that's going to happen will be in Virgo. It will be at 23 Virgo, 56 minutes, which rounded up to about 24 degrees Virgo. So that's the moon. But because it's a full moon, that means the sun is in the opposite sign at the same degrees, but in Pisces instead. So look to see if you've got anything, say, around 24 degrees, firstly of Virgo, and then opposite sign, which is Pisces. In terms of what kind of transits go with this, we have that moon, the full moon, conjunct the south node. And this is in Virgo. And if we think about, well, what's Virgo all about? Virgo can be about our health. It can be about important facts or important information. Mercury rules Virgo, so we look to where is Mercury. And so when I looked at the moon conjuncting the south node, I thought that potentially there's going to be important facts come from the past. South node is the past, as well as the moon, by the way. That's something to do with a health crisis. Now, we've already got something ongoing. I'm making this video kind of mid-February 2025. So there is something going on right now. But this is going to bring it to a big head, right? But it can also have to do with just straight off important past information and facts come to light, right? And if we look at other things that are happening, we've got that moon opposite Saturn. And so this is saying follow the rules and regulations as I say them. So those in command of, say, old institutions, or they have the rules and regulations that they can exert on you, they're going to be doing it at this full moon. Now, nicely, we have a setup of Uranus trining the moon, and then, of course, sextiling the sun. But honestly, even though this is a trine, and it's certainly favorable energy, because Uranus's energy is sudden, unexpected things happening, I really got this because that moon, which is trine Uranus, is also conjunct the south node. I just got this sudden removals of some sort coming about. That's what I get at this whole thing. Now, I did do an actual video on all 4 eclipses in 2025. So the eclipses happen in March and September. And they're really important eclipses, all of them actually. But this one in particular is a big one because in Virgo, because it's got a companion eclipse, a new moon eclipse that happens in September, the latter part of September 2025. So look to what happens here let's just say the first half of in March 2025, especially regarding what Virgo is ruled by, and that's Mercury. So that means communications, messages, important information, important facts. Pay attention to what comes up at this eclipse, because it's going to reveal a new beginning the latter part of September 2025, right? When we have our second eclipse in Virgo, but that one in September will be a new moon. On the 15th of March, Mercury now goes retrograde, and it goes retrograde at 9 Aries, 35 minutes. So, as of the 15th of March, I'm just remembering Julius Caesar and things like that, and, beware the Ides of March type thing. We both have Venus and now Mercury going retrograde mid-month. So we know that retrogrades can slow things down. It can ask us to reflect. It can scramble communications sometimes. So I would say all the above is going to apply to things, not only Mercury related, which are communications, certainly any kind of contract, that sort of thing, you got to look at very carefully. It's always recommended that if you can, don't sign a contract during a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes you just can't, right? You got to still live your life. But I would say if you were organizing and negotiating this contract, say, way prior to the Mercury retrograde, but now you're going to sign it on the Mercury retrograde, I would say that that's probably okay. I personally would still try to avoid it if I can. But because everything happened prior to Mercury going retrograde, if that's the case with you, it's probably going to be okay. The next thing we have happening on the 20th of March at 2:02 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is going to be the spring equinox. And basically that is the sun going to 0 degrees of Aries, 0 minutes. And this is also the celebration of the astrological new year as well. What we have is the moon at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, 21 minutes. I love that moon. It's optimistic, it's positive, and it's happy. So there may be a lot of optimism around the spring equinox. A lot of emotional happiness for some people, especially if you've got, say, something in Sagittarius that's around, let's say, 5, 6, or 7 degrees of Sagittarius. There could be some nice things coming for you for the next 3 months from the 20th of March. So we also have the Neptune and North Node conjunct in Pisces. And because we've got the sun at 0 degrees of Aries, it also is conjunct. So I see this as potentially very inspirational, that we may feel inspired with regards to our collective destiny. The destiny part is the North Nodes. The Neptune is our inspiration. And certainly if you've got anything in the arts, music, dance, even film, that type of thing, this could be a very positive time period, starting at the spring equinox for, say, about 3 months or so. But the other thing that Neptune does, of course, is it dissolves things, and it also can cast a cloud or a confusing type energy around. So that although there may be some happy, optimistic times emotionally, there may be also this sort of reticence about, yeah, but I'm really not sure where our collective destiny is going. It's not clear to me. At the spring equinox, we also have Mars widely trine Saturn. This is a good thing. Trines are always positive. And so this is basically taking positive, forward-moving energy, Mars, together with Saturn, which is our rules, our regulations, those experts. So there may be some expert movement forward as a result of something that those that are experts say, now's the time to go ahead. Now's the time to move forward. So it's coming from more the old institutions as opposed to new ones, but it's certainly people who know the rules and regulations are saying, go, this is the time to do it. So the second eclipse of March is going to be the final eclipse in Aries, because as you recall, the past 18 months or so, we've had eclipses in both Aries and Libra. This one is in Aries. It's a new moon, which bodes well, and is at 9 degrees of Aries, 00 minutes on the 29th of March at 3:58 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Mars. So we look to say, well, where is Mars? Mars is square Chiron. And so at this eclipse, I really do believe there's going to be some health issues that escalate, right? The Mars part is escalating. The square is difficulties and Chiron is health. So we're going to have to take a look at what happens at this time. But that is what I see happening here. We also, though, nicely have a sextile between Saturn and Uranus. So this could see new, unique ideas to old problems. Well, hopefully those new, unique ideas to old problems is to do, or has to do, with the health issues that are going to pop up here. Mars, again, sextiling Uranus, basically supports, it's a supportive thing here, where it actually says, you know, what have we got going on here that's we need to break free from? So the breaking free is Uranus, and the Mars is energy to make it us break free. Opportunities to break free. Opportunities for independence. Right? And then Mars also squares Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith can mean different things. A lot of times it'll say it's like the more difficult side of the feminine. But it can also just represent an energy of, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do what I want to do. And, you know, this whole thing of willfully doing something, right? Now, supporting that whole thing that I just spoke about with Mars and Black Moon Lilith is a yod. So we have a yod at this final eclipse in Aries. At its base, we have Saturn at 24 of Pisces, Uranus at 24 of Taurus, pointing to Black Moon Lilith, up there at about 23 of Libra. And so this is really, again, emphasizing this surprising, Uranus, willful, Black Moon Lilith, actions from the old guard. That's it. So this yod is standing out in relief or in neon, a neon sign, saying, you're going to have to get over this. You're going to have to work this through. And you're going to have these energies, though, that are saying, nah, I want to do it my way. And poof, surprising things coming up. But these are generated from the old guard because Saturn is involved here, right? So there may be some big upset, too, regarding old existing institutions as well as old and existing rules and regulations. So on the 30th of March, one more thing here, right? We have Neptune, ingress to Aries. Now, if we look at the last time we had Neptune in Aries, there were a few things going on. It's around 1861. We had the U.S.-American Civil War start. We interestingly also had the unification of Germany and Italy. And then we also have to ask, well, what does Neptune in Aries mean? And there's a few things. It's purposeful action, but also reaching for our individual dreams. And I really like that. In terms of what may evolve over Neptune in Aries, we may see AI increasing dramatically here and really evolving into something quite sophisticated. But also, when we look at Neptune, this can be religious stuff, right? And Aries is all about war. So I'm also thinking there may be some elements of a holy war going on as well with this Neptune going into Aries at the end of March. Let's hope that instead that Neptune can represent spirituality and that we can all take on the mantle of being more spiritual individuals and taking responsibility for emanating that, right? So let's just do a little peek of April. April is going to be a little less dramatic than March, but we do have both Mercury and Venus going direct at 26 and 24 degrees of Pisces respectively, which I think that's good. So expect maybe some resolution in different things, maybe money matters or anything to do with women. And then the moons we have in April are a full moon at 23 Libra and a new moon at the end of April at 7 degrees of Taurus. All right, let's move on next to the sun signs and our ascendants. You pick. I suggest you listen or watch for both. So Gemini, that full moon that's in Virgo, it squares your sign. It squares your fourth house. So this says to me there's some culmination of some sort, probably with regards to your family, maybe your mother, maybe both, or maybe just an individual family member. It's just a challenge where you have to step in. And the thing with the Virgo part of it, it could be two things. It could be asking you to get the facts and the information, relevant and important facts and information, not just any willy-nilly facts that are important for some kind of challenge with either your mother or your family. Now, the other thing that could be is that someone in your family or your mother has some kind of health issue of some sort, because health issues can be associated with Virgo as well. And the square requires you to get involved. I mean, it could be something as simple as, your mother or a family member is moving into your home and you have to make space for them, and it's a little more challenging than you thought. Or vice versa. You could be wanting to buy a home, sell a home, and there's challenges. If that is the case, and you are listening to this early on, say in February, when I'm making this, make sure you get a really good real estate. Vet your real estate agents and carefully look certainly at any kind of contract that you have to sign or any requirements is required of you, say, by the people selling the home. And the same applies to you selling a home as well, right? Make sure you have the right people in there and that your home is in the shape it needs to be in to be sold. Get everything checked out. Have someone beforehand go through all your house and all the structure and make sure it's good. Doing that's going to shore you up and make that square easier for you as opposed to difficult. Now, when we look at that new moon in Aries, well, that forms a sextile with you, Gemini, and it affects your 11th house. So straight up, this just says you making new friends. Lots of opportunities here for you to make new friends. Probably new friends that are very independent, so they're very much like Aries-like people. Independent, they like their individuality. They maybe even, carve out new roads in life for people, that type of thing. The 11th house also is hopes, dreams, and wishes. So at that new moon in Aries, you may also have an opportunity or opportunities to have one of your hopes, dreams, or wishes come true. Especially if you've been wanting to be independent. So we're talking about the Aries characteristics of this eclipse. Independence, or you wanted to go on your own road. You wanted to, pioneer something. That's going to be very supported by that new moon in Aries in your 11th house. For sure. Now, you've got Uranus going into your sign, Gemini, in July 2025. And it will be staying in there for quite a few years. Now, the reason or the rationale behind Uranus being in your sign is really to shake you up and to remove things that are not helping you, And these are probably things that if you thought about it, you know about already. Uranus is a very revolutionary energy. It moves quickly, it acts quickly, and there's no time to sort of think things through. So I would say, Gemini, when you're listening to this, maybe just spend some time thinking about, what do I need to revolutionize in my life? What do I need to eject out of my life? What do I need to be set free from in my life? And is there anything I can do now prior to July 2025 when Uranus goes into my sign that may aid this being a more palatable exercise having Uranus in Gemini. Certainly, this can be very freeing, this energy. So it's not to be feared. It's to be respected for sure. Now, this could also have something to do with education of some sort, because that's very Gemini. Communications of any sort, maybe revolutionizing how you speak, how you present yourself, how you write. And in fact, some of the big positive thing here is if you do want to write, this Uranus could bring in for you unexpected opportunities to do that, right? Because Gemini is all about writing too. All right. Take care, Gemini. All right, everybody. That just about wraps up what I have to say about March. Wow, just a packed month. I'm just going to remind you again that I did do a whole video on all 4 eclipses in March and September, and all many details about what I think of them. The video is below. I will still cover, at least to some extent, in my monthly videos, the eclipses as well. So you don't have to go there. I will still cover it in my monthlies. But if you want a lot more details, I'd go to the actual video on it. I wish everybody the best of luck in March. It's going to be lots of twists and turns is all I got to say. And if you do want your chart done, you know, I love doing it. All my services are below. I think most people can afford something in there. I'd be delighted to hear from you. If you've got any comments, especially if you've got comments to say, oh yeah, last time I had this, or say you comment as you have one of these eclipses in March and you say, oh wow, I just want to let you know what happened to me. I think all my viewers and my actual listeners like to hear and read that type of thing as well. So I encourage you to comment. All right, everybody, sending you lots of love. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.